It's Chris's first day in high school at James B. Dudley High School in Greensboro, North Carolina. Mr. Lewis was the principal of Dudley, and ever since that day, he has been a role model to Chris and a mentor. Or as Chris himself says, watching him, working with him, I realized what I wanted to be one day. I wanted to be Larry Lewis and have that impact. So I will introduce you to Larry Lewis, who is joining us today for his reflections on Chris. Welcome.
Thank you. Perhaps I shouldn't tell everything I want to tell right now. To all of you who are assembled here for this noble, historic, traditional occasion, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As mentioned, I am Larry Lewis. I was Chris Gore's principal. The 4 years he attended James Benson Dudley Senior High School in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I want to thank all of you, the alumni, the board members, the community stakeholders, the trustees, the parents, and everyone else who are associated supporters of Girard College for giving me this opportunity to tell you about what you're getting ready to get into. Before making reflections about Chris Goins, I want to give a special acknowledgement to his mother, Mrs. Linda Goins. And to Chris's big sister, Nikki Goins. Miss Goins was, and her husband, who is deceased, they were devoted school supporters the entire time Chris and Nick attended Dudley, and even after. They were in the Band Boosters Organization, the Parents Teacher Association, the Athletic Boosters, and other support organizations. So, Mrs. Goins, thank you. And she worked with me too. I also want to acknowledge one of the best Dudley High School teachers to later become the principal of Dudley High School, and then thereafter assumed superintendent's positions, and currently he's here in Philadelphia as the superintendent of the Philadelphia Public Schools, Dr. Tony Martin. I have a vivid recall of my first interaction with Chris Goins. I was seated in my office at Dudley High School one day at the start of the school year. I believe it was the first week of school. The secretary called into my office by phone and said that a student, Chris Goins, wanted to see me. I had not called for a student. But considering that it was the first week of school, I had no reason to see the student, to not see the student. After all, the first week is hectic. Well, I told the secretary to send the student back. Chris entered my office, sat down before I prompted him to sit down. He sat in a chair in front of my desk. I said, "How may I help you?" He said, "Oh, I don't want anything right now. I figured if you're going to be my president, then I needed to meet you face to face." I said, "Okay." It's nice to meet you, Chris Lawrence. Then he stood up, extended his hand for a handshake. We shook hands. Then he walked towards the door to leave, turned while at the threshold of the doorway, and said, "Have a good day, and do a good job, Mr. Lewis." I will never forget that director. Of course, I went to the front office and asked the office staff of 3 administrative assistants, "Who is that student?" They said, "Mr. Lewis, he's a freshman. We don't know him yet." That one word, "yet," grasped my attention. After that meeting in my office, Chris went on to embrace his high school years with much excitement, school spirit, and accomplishments, and a focus of determination. Let me give you a few reflections. He got along well with his teachers. He even counseled a teacher to exit teaching. The teacher resigned and later accepted another position to better help students, but not as a teacher. The teacher later thanked Chris, but never thanked me. To this day, I don't know what Chris said, but I believe without any doubt that he did it with a radiant smile. Chris was a member of the marching band at Dudley. The band had a reputation of being the best band in the school, perhaps one of the best in the state of North Carolina. It was large, loud, musically skilled, and talented. Chris was a reliable trumpet player for 2 years until, unknowingly to him, his suppressed leadership skills propelled him to his calling as drum major. After every home football game, and after having performed halftime of each game, Chris would lead the band from Tarpley Stadium to the band room. The crowds followed the band, and a crowd would be waiting at the band room for the band. As one of the band members, Charles Brody, stated, most people from the game would make their way to near the band room to have the proper visual of pure showmanship. Section by section, would dance and sing to the drum cadence with creative moves. The flutes, the trombones, the tubas, even the flag girls would make their way out of ranks to the band room, saving the best for last. The crowd would uproar when it came time for the drum majors to break out their routine. With their rhythm, dance moves, synchronized tango brought the entire evening to a celebratory conclusion. There was nothing like watching Chris in his element. Brody also described Chris's leadership as that of a pusher. He would push and push and push towards excellence. For example, the band was exhausted, absolutely tired, after having performed in a very long parade. They were ready to get on the bus, go back to the school, and go home. But that was not the case. Chris looked around and saw that there was a crowd. Brody yelled, "Chris, we are tired." Chris yelled, "The people came to see us. We have to give them what they want." The band played and the drum majors performed.
All right.
The exuberant behaviors of being a drum major on the football field in parades in front of crowds did not command attention. Chris's attention during the regular school day. Chris was a focused academic achiever. He would give priority to his academic endeavors and responsibilities, even if he had to study late at night or early in the morning. One of his classmates shared that even in college, at North Carolina A&T State University, Chris would have fun, but would always make his schoolwork a priority. F. Christopher Goins was also an athlete. He was one of the best track athletes in the state of North Carolina. He competed in the 100, 200, and also the 4x4 relay. He was a powerhouse on the track. Better yet, he always exhibited commendable sportsmanship. When I was interviewed for the principal position at Dudley, I was told about the title of Mr. Dudley and Miss Dudley. Considered the highest honor one could receive at Dudley was being named Mr. Dudley or Miss Dudley, which could only be held by a senior male and a senior female. The pageant was not only that of the school, it was a community event. Contestants have to do well in talent performance, communication skills, public relations, and meet academic eligibility. Chris was a contestant. Unfortunately, the declaration of a winner for Mr. Dudley could not be easily determined. Therefore, the entire student body got involved with a lot of energy. Each competitor had the entire school day to campaign. Some students said that Chris's ability to relate, his infectious smile, his positive outlook, and his sincere listening skills caused an obvious separation from his competition. F. Christopher Goins was named Mr. Dudley. Another encounter with Chris during his high school years was a conversation about life after high school. You know, every principal, superintendent, parent, teacher wants every student to be successful. This particular conversation was during his senior year of high school. I wanted to know his aspirations. I wanted him to graduate from Dudley High School.